What does it mean? It means you made a reservation and there's an expectation that if you rented something that's going to be a Toyota or a Nissan, there will be a car of comparable value and perhaps the same components that will be available to you the day that you go and rent it. But if you have a reservation and you show up at the ticket counter and they say, I'm sorry, there are no cars, we ran out of cars, what do you say then? We need to move from good to great, and good to great takes us to the gold standard. We want to be the best that we can possibly be in the field that we are in for the amount of time that we plan to stay in business. And I don't know how long you plan to stay in business, but I've been in business since I was 14 years old, and I intend to stay in business for maybe the next 20 or 30 years, because it would be a really good thing to be. But we need empowered staff, we need supportive management, and we need to think outside the box. But we need to imagine there is no box. When I first learned to play golf at age 50, think about this, I learned to swim at 26, play soccer at 35, and play golf at 50. When I learned to play golf, there were a lot of water hazards, and my husband, who was a pro, would say to me, watch out for that water hazard. And I would look and I would say, water? What water? I don't see any water. Because in my mind, there was no water. And if I removed that obstacle and I thought, there is no box, then I was going to be more successful, and I was. So when you think about service, who do you like to go to? Who comes to mind? Nordstrom, good service. They'll take anything back forever. So does Costco, by the way. What about Disney? Do you like Disney? Is there anyone here who has never been to Disney? Land or World? Do you know that 74% of people who go to Disney go back, even though the ratings say the prices were too high? Everything was so expensive for anything like a bottle of water, a stroller, anything. It was so expensive. I waited in long lines unless I paid in advance for that quick trip sort of a thing. But 74% of the people come back. And do you know why they come back? Why do you think they come back? Somebody greeted them with a smile. Somebody in khaki pants and whatever the colored shirt of the day is made them feel welcome. Made them feel as if they were the most important people in the park that day, and therefore they came back again and again and again for that experience, because it's really all about the experience. Disney makes them come back. Nordstrom makes them come back. If you say, I'm going to be there at 1 o'clock, you should show up at 10 minutes to 1 so that you are going to be there. One of the really interesting things that happened to me when I was working in medical school was, I used to say that if a patient is ready for surgery at 7 a.m., everybody should be around the table with a knife in their hands at 7 a.m., not at 10 to 7 sending out for coffee, or sending out for bagels, or sending out for lunch if it's noontime. That's not what you want. You have to deliver on that promise. You have to promise what you can deliver. The girl from Nordstrom knew that she could get something at Marshall Fields and then deliver it. So she delivered on her promise. But do you ever promise something and then think, how am I ever going to do that? I had that experience several years ago when I lived in Chicago, and I agreed for NBC to present a program for Paramount Studios on Feng Shui for cars on NBC Sunday afternoon news. When I got off the phone, my husband said, did you just agree to do Feng Shui for cars? And I said, yes, with a very straight face. And he said, but you don't know anything about Feng Shui for cars. And I said, it doesn't matter. I know about Feng Shui for people, and I know about Feng Shui for houses, and I promise by Sunday at 12 noon, I'm going to be an expert on Feng Shui for cars, and I was. 6 weeks from now, what can I expect? Well, maybe I can get it for you today, or maybe I can get it for you tomorrow, or let me think about what I can do. It doesn't work that way. The best customer service video is one that's online that was published by Cleveland Clinic. And it is amazing. It's all about, of course, a patient experience, but what it walks you through is whatever you promise that person, you must deliver. You must realize that they're there for a purpose, and it's not just something that malfunctioned in their body, but that they have a family, and that that person in the bed is related to someone else, and that they have a story, and there's a reason for being there. So think about the reasons for being there in your own business. Why does somebody come to you instead of somebody else, and what can they expect? Is it going to be a positive response? Let me do my best to get that to you by the end of the day. Or is it going to be, I'm sorry, that's the service that we provide and there's nothing more that I can do. I can't fit you in today, but I can fit you in next year. Or what are you doing in 2021? That doesn't cut it. Wouldn't you find another provider? Wouldn't you find another retailer? People do business with those they know, like, and trust. Shout it out. Know, like, and trust. And that's what's so important. They're not coming back if they don't trust you. If they think that you're a terrible clinician or a terrible baker or a terrible chef, do you think they're coming back and telling their friends, well, I almost got food poisoning in that restaurant, but I recommend you try. And then what will you do now to create a wow? Because a wow, the wow factor is what's going to have them come in and have them come back. When they keep coming back for more, that's when it happens. So now think about what business we're in. I asked you the question as we started out. Many of you said service because it really is about the service. It's about service with a smile. It's about service with an attitude. It's about service with delivery. It's about service with outcomes and service with product. People want to do business with those they what? Know, like, and trust. There is no doubt. They'll trust you, they'll like you, and they'll want to know more about you if you deliver with a wow. Thank you so much.